What does he see in her? Jessica thought, rudely glaring at us. Had to be Bella. It just had to be her that made the guy want to date, Mike thought angrily. Yet again, Angela's kindness helped me to block out everyone else's infuriating inability to mind their own business. They look really happy. It's nice he finally has someone, she thought, smiling and waving at Bella as she passed. Angela approves of us, I told Bella when she was out of earshot. And the rest of them? She asked, glancing nervously around her. Angela approves, I repeated, Bella's face growing redder by the second. But don't worry about him, okay? If you let what others think to you, you'll never have any peace. Trust me, I have a lot of experience. Yeah, I guess you do, she said, returning her gaze to mine. Her eyes looked sad and concerned, and the last thing I wanted her was worrying about the oddities of my life that's grown so used to. The only thing I cared about was that Bella seemed to accept me so entirely, and I was eager to get back to her earlier lightheaded mood. So, Bella, who wants to travel the world and read the classics, shall we continue? If you really want to, but I still don't know why you find me so interesting. You're a mystery to me, Bella. A mystery that keeps getting more and more beautiful with each piece of the puzzle I unlock. She blushed deeper than I'd seen her all day, her eyes darting to her hands, which she started to fidget with on the table. If you say so, she whispered, and although she sounded like she doubted me, along with her blush, she was now grinning ear to ear. Okay, I'm guessing you're not particularly into sports? What tipped you off? She asked sarcastically, meeting my eyes again. Oh, just a hunch. Bet that breaks Charlie's heart a little. I watch baseball with him sometimes, and football if I'm really bored, though I gave up trying to understand the rules years ago. What activities were you interested in when you were younger? I took ballet for a while, but I was never any good at it. I think my mom was hoping to find something that would help my coordination, but the year I twisted my ankle at the big recital, she decided it was probably a lost cause. Anything else? I tried ice skating once. And how did that go? She considered putting me back into ballet. I laughed loudly and was happy to see her laughing with me. With every question I asked, she grew more and more animated. At times she seemed confused by certain things I wanted to know, but in the end, I think she was actually flattered, which only encouraged me to talk to her more. Returning to her list of favorites, I rattled off a few quick inquiries I've been wondering about. What's your favorite season? In Phoenix, fall. In Forks, summer. What type of food? Italian. Favorite drink? Lemonade. Ice cream? Cookies and cream? Animals? Dogs. Gemstone? Topaz. I was about to ask her favorite flower when I noticed she started blushing again, and I looked away. Did that embarrass you? I asked, baffled. No, she said shyly, still not meeting my eyes. What's wrong? Nothing. Now, aren't you going to ask me my favorite author or TV show? No. I want to know why you're blushing. No reason. It just made me think of something. Forget it. It's no big deal. Please? I asked, trying to get her to look at me again. My favorite author is Jane Austen. But I want to know why your favorite gemstone is topaz, and why it seems to have upset you. I'm not upset, she said, fighting nonchalance, and still stubbornly refusing to look up. Tell me, I pleaded, wishing I knew how to use that dazzling skill she'd insisted allowed me to get my way. After a few more moments of silence, she sighed and whispered, It's the color of your eyes today. If it were possible for me to blush in return, I would have been as red as her. Instead, I sat there grinning and staring at her, happier than I'd been all day. It was a silly thing to be so excited about, but something about the sincerity in her voice was making me positively ecstatic. She still hadn't looking up, and I heard her heartbeat speed up again and her breathing hitch. I realized there was more. I suppose if you asked me in 2 weeks, I'd say oxen. I almost laughed as I remembered just how well she knew me, even down to the pattern of my changing eyes. As much as I was enjoying the moment, I made myself continue, in hopes that she would see me again. I was already missing the intensity of her staring into her beautiful brown eyes. What kind of flowers do you prefer? I asked, happy when she immediately lifted her head. Cactus flowers, she said, a hint of her earlier enthusiasm coming back. Why am I not surprised? I teased, rolling my eyes. I was grateful that we had the next class together, since I was no near ready to let her go. I continued asking about her time in Phoenix as we walked to biology, and didn't stop until Mr. Banner arrived. When I realized today was going to be another movie day, I instinctively moved my chair a few inches away from Bella's, not that I thought it would help much. Just as I knew it would, the second the lights went out, the electric current that seemed to flow between us reignited, intensified by the darkness. I remember how wonderful it had felt to feel my fingertips graze along her cheek last night while she slept, recalled the silky texture of her hand against my hand. I wanted to reach out to her, to hold her hand in the dark room. When she leaned forward and placed her chin on her arms, I fought against the urge to do the same. It would have been so easy to fold my arms beside her, letting our skins touch and giving in to the electricity. Easy, but not smart. I stayed planted firmly in my place in my seat, watching her as she stared straight ahead and at least pretended to watch what was on the TV. When the lights came back on, she glanced at me, and I hoped my initial battle didn't show too greatly on my face. I couldn't bring myself to begin questioning her on the way to gym. I was still so lost in my desire to touch her. Right before she turned to leave, I gave in just slightly, brushing the back of my hand to her delicate face. I was certain no matter how many times I felt her perfect skin on my granite hand, I would never tire the feeling of peace it brought me. I watched her through her classmates' eyes as she stayed, thankfully out of the way throughout gym. Mike was looking at me particularly sour, but as long as he kept Bella from inadvertently injuring herself, I figured I couldn't fault him too much. When class was over, I made my way back to the gymnasium and was thrilled to see her brilliant smile the moment our eyes met. If every day could feel this wonderful, endlessly repeating high school might not be as boring as it once was. On the drive home, I noticed the way Bella's eyes turned melancholy as she glanced up at the overcast sky. Remembering her enthusiasm when she spoke of her life in Phoenix, I asked her what she missed most about it. I listened in rapt attention as she described things I could barely imagine. Obviously, I haven't spent much time anywhere near the sun out on a daily basis, and as hard as I tried, I couldn't remember what it had felt like on my human skin. I was filled with wonder as I listened to her talk about the beauty of the sun cascading across the hills and valleys of the place she loved so deeply. With each passing moment, her eyes seemed to light up more and more, and even when the rain began to pour around us, nothing dampened her spirit. It was that spark, that passion, that gave me the confidence I'd been so desperately searching for as I spoken to my family about taking her to my special hideaway on Saturday. There was no amount of pain too great that could stop me from seeing her face lit by the sun. Listening to her, I started to realize that one of the things I felt guiltiest about was the fact her wanting to be with me, in essence, taking the sun away from her. Although I was still afraid she would be repulsed by my true appearance, she'd made it clear she wanted to spend time with me, and I was just beginning to understand how much she missed the joys of a sun-drenched day. Putting all my fears aside, I was determined to give her at least this one day where she could have both.